What happens when ambition collides with reality? And a franchise standing at the crossroads must choose between the seductive whisper of immediate gratification and the disciplined path of patient construction. The Montreal Canadiens are facing exactly this dilemma, and the decision they make in the coming weeks could either validate years of strategic rebuilding or unravel it in spectacular fashion. The NHL trade market is heating up earlier than usual this season, and the temperature is rising fastest around one particular player who's become the league's most intriguing rental commodity. With 3 months still separating us from the traditional March deadline frenzy, front offices across the league are already engaging in the delicate art of negotiation, probing weaknesses, testing resolve, and positioning themselves for moves that could define their seasons. The Vancouver Canucks find themselves in possession of a player whose value has skyrocketed at precisely the moment when his contract situation makes him available. Keifer Sherwood, the 30-year-old American winger, has transformed himself from a depth player into a legitimate trade chip, and the list of suitors reads like a who's who of contending franchises. The Dallas Stars, Colorado Avalanche, Minnesota Wild, and New Jersey Devils have all made inquiries. But here's where the story takes a fascinating turn that should concern every Canadian supporter. Montreal has reportedly joined this conversation. According to respected insider David Pagnotta, speaking on the Secures and Price podcast, the Canadiens are keeping an eye on players who would fit Keifer Sherwood's profile, despite not leading their division. This revelation demands serious examination, critical analysis, and perhaps most importantly, a reality check about what this franchise should actually be doing right now. Let's dissect exactly what makes Sherwood such an attractive target with the precision of a surgeon's scalpel. The right-shooting winger stands 6 feet tall and has exploded offensively this season, potting 12 goals in a career-best performance that couldn't have been timed more perfectly for his upcoming free agency. He plays with the kind of relentless, physical intensity that coaches dream about, the sandpaper edge that energizes teammates, frustrates opponents, and elevates playoff-style hockey even during the regular season. His current contract represents an absolute bargain at $1.5 million, and due to bonus structure peculiarities, he'll carry just $775,000 against the salary cap for the 2025-26 season for any team that acquires him. This financial flexibility is precisely why teams don't need to wait until the March deadline to make a move. Sherwood represents minimal cap disruption with maximum potential impact, the kind of low-risk addition that can bolster a lineup without destroying your financial architecture. Multiple organizations have already contacted Vancouver to gauge availability, and the competition is fierce. These aren't bottom feeders hoping to add depth. These are legitimate Stanley Cup contenders who believe Sherwood could be the missing ingredient in their championship recipe. The Dallas Stars need secondary scoring. The Colorado Avalanche want more grit. The Minnesota Wild are searching for playoff-tested warriors. The New Jersey Devils are building something special and want to accelerate their timeline. But here's the complication that should make every Canadiens fan pause. Sherwood does not play center. For an organization that has publicly, repeatedly, and emphatically acknowledged their desperate need for center depth, this creates immediate philosophical tension. Would he slot into Montreal's top 6? Absolutely not. Third line? Possibly, where his energy and physicality could complement skill players. But is that worth surrendering significant assets? The market will likely demand a first-round pick as the baseline price for Sherwood's services. According to multiple reports, he's not engaged in contract extension discussions with Vancouver, which signals his clear availability and rental status. Come summer, when he hits unrestricted free agency, expect his asking price to soar to at least $4 million annually, possibly more if he maintains his current scoring pace through the playoffs. This is where cold, hard analytics must override emotional impulses and romantic notions of going for it. The Montreal Canadiens are not leading their division. They're not even in a playoff position. They're a young, developing team with promising pieces, but glaring holes that cannot be fixed with a single rental winger. Their prospect pipeline shows genuine potential, but it requires patience, protection, and the continued accumulation of high-end draft capital. Trading a first-round selection, the absolute lifeblood of sustainable team building in the salary cap era, for a rental winger who wouldn't crack the top six feels counterintuitive to everything Kent Hughes has preached about long-term construction. It contradicts the patient, methodical approach that has defined his tenure. It represents exactly the kind of short-term thinking that derails rebuilds and leaves franchises stuck in perpetual mediocrity. The appeal of Sherwood's profile is undeniable. His grit, his timely goal scoring, his affordable contract, these are genuinely attractive qualities. Hughes' interest makes logical sense from a pure player evaluation standpoint. Sherwood embodies characteristics the Canadiens currently lack: physical presence, playoff-style intensity, and the ability to contribute offensively while playing a responsible two-way game. But context matters desperately in franchise management. Montreal needs to accumulate assets, not deplete them. They need to develop their young core: Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, Uri Slafkovsky, Lane Hudson, not mortgage their future for incremental improvements that won't fundamentally change their competitive timeline. Unless Hughes has received private assurances that Sherwood would sign an extension, which seems extraordinarily unlikely given his impending payday, this represents a dangerous deviation from the plan. While Sherwood generates headlines and sparks debate, the truly seismic story brewing in Vancouver involves his teammate and captain, Quinn Hughes. The elite defenseman sits just 19 months away from unrestricted free agency, creating existential questions for the Canucks front office and potential opportunities for teams with the assets and courage to make a franchise-altering move. If Vancouver decides to trade their cornerstone defenseman, a decision that would send shockwaves through the entire league, expect fierce, brutal competition. The Detroit Red Wings have reportedly signaled they won't allow the New Jersey Devils to acquire Hughes without a fight. Detroit possesses assets, cap space, and the kind of desperation that comes from years of irrelevance. A bidding war for Quinn Hughes would be spectacular theater, the kind of trade deadline drama that defines eras. For Montreal, this represents a completely different calculation. Quinn Hughes is the caliber of player you mortgage futures to acquire. A legitimate number one defenseman entering his prime years. A player who could transform your blue line for a decade. The cost would be astronomical, likely requiring multiple first-round picks, top prospects, and roster players. It's a conversation worth having, even if the price ultimately proves prohibitive. This comparison illuminates the fundamental difference between smart aggression and reckless desperation. Trading significant assets for Quinn Hughes, despite the enormous cost, would represent a calculated gamble on a franchise-altering talent. Trading a first-round pick for Keifer Sherwood represents something else entirely. A move that satisfies short-term emotional desires while contradicting long-term strategic imperatives. Several smaller developments within the Canadiens' universe deserve mention as they paint a broader picture of where this franchise currently stands. Adam Engstrom's status remains uncertain, with indications suggesting careful management of the young defenseman's development. This cautious approach with prospects should inform how the organization views asset management more broadly. Uri Slafkovsky is not a center, despite occasional speculation and desperate hopes from fans seeking solutions to Montreal's center depth crisis. The organization views him as a winger, and that positioning won't change regardless of how acute their center concerns become. This reality should further emphasize why trading assets for a winger, even a good one like Sherwood, doesn't address their most pressing positional need. The road ahead features difficult decisions, competing philosophies, and the constant tension between winning now and building sustainably. Kent Hughes has navigated these treacherous waters skillfully thus far, demonstrating patience when others might have panicked, accumulating assets when others might have surrendered them, and maintaining conviction in his long-term vision when short-term results tempted deviation. The Sherwood situation represents a test of that conviction. It's easy to stay disciplined when no attractive options present themselves. The real challenge comes when opportunity knocks, when a quality player becomes available, when competitors are circling, and when the temptation to do something becomes overwhelming. This is precisely when great general managers separate themselves from merely good ones by having the courage to say no when everyone else is saying yes. The Keifer Sherwood rumors illuminate a fundamental truth about NHL management that transcends any single player or transaction. Opportunity and wisdom don't always align. Just because a player is available doesn't mean acquiring him serves your long-term interests. Just because competitors are circling doesn't mean you must join the feeding frenzy. Just because you have assets doesn't mean you should spend them on incremental improvements. Montreal's path forward requires discipline, patience, and unwavering commitment to their stated rebuild timeline. Sherwood is unquestionably a quality player experiencing a career year. He would help any team in the league. But he's not the answer to Montreal's most pressing questions, and surrendering premium assets for a rental forward contradicts everything Hughes has built over the past 3 years. Sometimes the best trades are the ones you don't make. Sometimes the most important decision is the decision to wait, to trust your process, to believe in your timeline even when external pressure mounts. Kent Hughes has earned the benefit of the doubt through his track record, but this situation will reveal whether that patience extends to moments when action feels tempting. The Canadiens are building something sustainable, something that could contend for years rather than months. Keifer Sherwood, as valuable as he might be to a contender, doesn't fit that timeline. The smart move is the patient move. The right decision is the disciplined decision. And the best outcome for Montreal's future is probably letting someone else pay the premium price for a rental player who won't fundamentally alter their competitive trajectory. What's your take on the Canadiens' reported interest in Keifer Sherwood? Would you sacrifice a first-round pick for a rental winger who doesn't address your biggest need? Or should Hughes maintain his disciplined approach and protect future assets? This debate cuts to the heart of how we build winning franchises in the modern NHL. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's have a real conversation about patience versus action, and don't forget to hit that like button if you appreciate analysis that prioritizes long-term success over short-term satisfaction. Your perspective matters in shaping how we evaluate this franchise's direction. Word count: approximately 1,850 words estimated video duration. 10 to 11 minutes tone: analytical, passionate, skeptical of short-term moves, emotional hook, tension between ambition and patience.